Recently, every Boruto fan has been trying to figure out how Boruto was able to instantly pull up to the leaf and step on Code's face. And it appeared so easy for him to do, and knowing that Code is stronger than JOUGAN, it all just makes it seem even more impossible. But this is because Kishimoto is hiding something from us, which is that Boruto has already awakened the JOUGAN, and Kishimoto is praying that you miss this clue that exposes the truth of Boruto's newfound power. First of all, let's explain the possible options and ways Boruto could have come to the leaf, and what leads me to the conclusion that it has to be the JOUGAN that allowed him to pull off such a feat. The first possible option, and it is the most popular argument, is that Boruto used time-space abilities that originate from the karma, which allowed him to come to the village. But there is a major problem with this argument, which is how would Boruto be able to know that Code has come to the village? Then people would say that Sasuke was able to do the same when JOUGAN captured Naruto. This is true, and it only confirms that it has to be a dojutsu that allowed him to do such a feat. But there's also another problem, which is that Boruto mentioned something that directly pointed to Code and Sarada's discussion when he dropped his iconic bar telling Code that he can't pull. The second argument that people would then bring up is that Boruto may have just been around the village, which is why he responded so quickly and may have hidden his chakra signal so that he could watch the village from the outside. This could work, but the problem is that 1. The Leaf security force mentioned that Boruto was there, which means that he wasn't hiding his chakra signal, and if Boruto was hiding outside the village, Kawaki would have noticed it, just like Boruto, who noticed Kawaki's chakra signal when he went outside the village to fight Code. And we also see that Kawaki was outside the village on the outskirts when he went to go and see Code's claw marks, so he would have been able to sense Boruto if Boruto was truly outside the village. This leaves one option, and one option alone, and that is that Boruto was able to pull off such a feat by using the JOUGAN, which allowed him to arrive in the village swiftly. But you may ask, what ability does the JOUGAN have that allows Boruto to do this? So in the past, the JOUGAN has made a few appearances in the anime, which has allowed us to pinpoint some of his abilities. One being that he can sense negative emotions, which he did when he sensed Metal Lee's negative emotion, and which may be a reason why he was able to sense that Code was there. But using the JOUGAN, he can also use time-space abilities that would have allowed him to come to the village and spawn on Code's face. However, you may point out that there is a problem. The same problem that I pointed out with Sasuke and him using time-space ninjutsu, which is how was Boruto able to know Sarada and Code's conversation. However, this is not a problem, and here's why. In the anime, we see that the JOUGAN not only allows Boruto to see and use time-space ninjutsu, but it also allows him to hear various things that are happening in different locations. And he can also see in the dimensions that he is about to spawn into, which is why he was able to hear Code and Sarada's conversation before he even spawned in the village. It also reminisces the scene in the anime where Shikadai called for Boruto, and Boruto, using his JOUGAN, came back to the exact same location where Shikadai called for him to come. And the reason why most people are not aware of the JOUGAN's abilities is because it appeared mainly in the anime, and most people skipped some of these anime arcs. So let's break down some of the most important instances where Boruto used the JOUGAN and what it means for the abilities that the JOUGAN may have. The first instance where we see Boruto use the JOUGAN is after Tonori prematurely awakened Boruto's JOUGAN. Tonori didn't give Boruto the JOUGAN. A lot of people theorize that that is not the truth. He only helped him prematurely awaken it. We don't know how he helped him prematurely awaken it, but some people believe that Tonori gave Boruto some of Shibai's DNA, which helped him awaken the JOUGAN, which is why Boruto's horns look more like Shibai's than Momoshiki's, but that's just a theory. In the first couple arcs, we learn about the JOUGAN's most basic abilities. So let's start off with the first most important case of Boruto using the JOUGAN. Boruto versus Nue. Here, we have Boruto who needs to fight Nue in a different dimension so that the village doesn't get destroyed. So guess what happens? Boruto uses his JOUGAN, transports himself to another dimension alongside Nue. But during this fight, the only way he could defeat Nue was if he was able to see his chakra points and analyze the weak points of Nue's body. This is exactly what happened, as Boruto was now able to see Nue's chakra points and revert him back to his calm and normal state. After this arc, we have not seen Boruto have the ability to see chakra points using his JOUGAN ever again. It was only in this instance where Boruto needed to see Nue's chakra points and then was able to do it and defeated him. This is a recurring theme with the JOUGAN, as whenever Boruto needs to see something or needs to have a specific ability to counter his opponent, he activates the JOUGAN and he ends up finding miraculously that the JOUGAN possesses one of these abilities. The next important case is found in the fight versus Urashiki. During this fight, Boruto has a lot of problem with Urashiki, as he is not able to follow him through the dimensions he was escaping through. He would attack, go into his dimension, then hit Boruto through an unpredictable angle. Now, guess what happens in this fight? Boruto awakens his JOUGAN, and this time he doesn't see chakra points. No, he sees where Urashiki's dimension would allow him to go, as Boruto sees the future, and before Urashiki arrived to his destination, Boruto already knows where he would go. And when he is now able to see a few seconds into the future, Urashiki now has a hard time fighting against him, and for the rest of that fight, he seems to have lost the advantage. And classic Urashiki, he runs away, knowing that he can't defeat Boruto. This is another instance where we see Boruto use the JOUGAN, which tells us that it is quite different from other dojutsus that we have seen in the Naruto series. Like the Sharingan, as with the Sharingan, you awaken it through going through a lot of emotions. This can be both positive, like with Sarada, or negative, like with people like Itachi and Sasuke in some instances. But the JOUGAN is different. You do not awaken the JOUGAN through desire or emotion. You awaken the JOUGAN through need. This is quite similar to how Goku explains the awakening of Super Saiyan. It responds to a need, not a desire. This mostly happens when one of the JOUGAN's abilities is a direct counter to his opponent's. This is where we would then see Boruto awaken the JOUGAN and have the ability necessary to defeat his opponent. Now, some of you guys may say, why did Boruto not use it against Code or Ishiki? This is when we have to discuss plot, as plot is the main driving force of the series, as sometimes it doesn't make sense for Boruto to awaken his JOUGAN, and it's not the main point of the arc. For example, the fight versus Ishiki, Naruto, and Sasuke was a fight to nerf them, so there was no reason for Boruto to be the star of the show. It wasn't his moment to shine, and the power gap was just too big. Even versus Code, some of you guys may say that his abilities are quite similar to Urashiki's, so he should have awakened his JOUGAN in that instance. This is true, I do agree, but the main purpose of this fight was to explain how the karma works and the different levels of strength a person could tap into while using the karma. This only means that when the JOUGAN comes into play, it would act and facilitate the plot, a bit like Hashirama cells. In Naruto, there is a problem, Hashirama cells. You want a new dojutsu, Hashirama cells. Your arm is gone, Hashirama cells, and now you have it back. The JOUGAN may end up being the new Hashirama cells for the Boruto series, but it will only help Boruto in this instance, as the very nature of this dojutsu is just broken. Being able to see your opponent's weaknesses is a crazy hacks, and it seems like the JOUGAN gives its user the abilities necessary to counter his opponent and give him an edge and advantage. As during the fight versus Urashiki, Boruto doesn't use the same abilities that he used during the fight versus Nue. He doesn't see the chakra points, but instead he sees the future. That's because in this instance, Boruto didn't need to see the chakra points. He just needed to see the future to counteract Urashiki's abilities. This showcases the JOUGAN's adaptive abilities, which adapts to the opponent's weaknesses and gives the user an edge. But the next question that has to be answered is, when exactly did Boruto awaken the JOUGAN? Because a lot of people expect it to have a major awakening. But there is a few problems with this. which is why I personally don't think it will awaken in a similar way to the Sharingan. We already know that it doesn't respond to things like emotion like the Sharingan, as it is awakened through need, not want. However, we technically already saw Boruto awaken it in the anime, so there's no need for Boruto to have some deep emotional moments. This is why we might just see him use it during the fight versus Code and Kawaki, which is a high-stake event, but it will not have the brutal death which is associated with the awakening of something like the Mangeki Sharingan. But this doesn't technically solve the question, as Boruto has never awakened or used the JOUGAN in the manga. So if Boruto uses the JOUGAN for the first time in the fight versus Kawaki, then it would have meant that he hadn't awakened in the past, which wouldn't have allowed him to perform such a feat. This is why I believe that Boruto permanently awakened the JOUGAN during the time skip, and versus none other than Code. Which is why he told Sarada to scream, because Code already knew some of his abilities. Which means that Boruto would have awakened the JOUGAN 2 years ago when he gave Code that scar. Because it seems like they are hinting towards a confrontation between Code and Boruto during the time skip, as Code sees Boruto as Kawaki, and it's going to be quite interesting to see how their three-way fight is going to end up going, as Code might learn the truth about the omnipotence, but I doubt it will change anything. But going back to the time skip fight between Code and Boruto, which may have resulted in the scar we see Boruto have, and maybe, if the authors wanted, we could have Boruto awaken the JOUGAN through an emotional moment, as if Code kills Sasuke, Boruto would then awaken it at that moment, and it would be crazy. But I personally don't think Sasuke will die, and I don't want it to be done off screen. Sasuke can't have that treatment. But what I believe is likely to happen is that Code attacks Boruto, and Boruto awakens his JOUGAN during that fight, almost killing him, and he scars his eye. And it's kind of crazy, because back in the days, we used to be theorizing that Boruto would get his scar from Code, but now the roles are reversed, pun intended, and I did say that in the comments, so if you saw that comment, hey, shout out to you. But the roles seem to be reversed, but now we are theorizing that Boruto is the one who gave Code that scar. But there has also been some other interesting developments that could also hint towards something else that Boruto may have been doing. When Code comes to the village, he says that he has been looking for Boruto for 2 years. This probably happened after his fight with Boruto, where he got his scar. Code has been looking for Boruto ever since that moment, so that he could get his revenge, as we always know that Code is consistently looking for revenge but always ends up losing. But what if Code has been looking in the wrong place? As Code would probably think that Boruto is on Earth, so he has been going around for 2 years looking for Boruto on this planet. However, he is looking in the wrong place, as Boruto is no longer on Earth, but now he is on the moon. This is a theory that a lot of people in my comment section have been pointing out to me, as if you pay close attention to Boruto's VGM cover, you would see that he is sitting on some sort of whitish, bluish surface, which a lot of people attribute to be the moon, which means that Boruto went to the moon, where he would meet people like Tonori. Just like Tonori said he would look over the planet, Boruto may have gone to the moon and acted as the new Tonori, using his JOUGAN and protecting the village from the shadows. However, it means that Boruto went back to the person who permanently awakened his JOUGAN. This is why you have to watch this video right here, as during this time he would have probably learned the second most broken ability of the JOUGAN.